Yeoman have been nerfed. Hey guys, KP here with a patch update. That's right, new patch just dropped. Some hot fixes in, some tweaks, a few nerfs. We're going to quickly dive through it live for the first time. Wait, new game mode? Conqueror's Cache. So battle for control in Season 10's new game mode. Fight for control of the Conqueror's Cache and the Conqueror's Bounty. The longer you hold one, the more you'll be rewarded. Over time, the heal will upgrade and provide stronger and more devastating rewards. Oh, so it's like a King of the Hill mode. That's actually sick. So, I think 2 years ago, when free-for-all was really hyped up, I said one thing that would make free-for-alls much better is if there was like care packages that dropped, almost like when you play Rust or something. And this is kind of like that by the sounds of it. I really like that. That's going to be exciting to explore. And by the way, I'm actually really happy they're adding in new game modes because I think it's something that AoE 4 sorely needs. 1v1 is cool, we got it in a good place, but let's add new funky game modes that do different things. But we have got some map changes. So, they corrected an issue where the Ronins couldn't be hired if you didn't have food. I guess at one stage they cost food instead of gold. But this is interesting. Light Horizon, I think, has a lot of fixes. So, close to berry patch has been removed for each player. That should resolve a lot of the spawn issues that they have. Because quite often we've had games where one player would get berries, the other wouldn't. A large gold vein market and a wolf den will now spawn at the far edge of the map. I like that because for anyone seen the Light Horizon, it's very empty in the absolute corners. So that's going to add in a little bit of deviation play, which is cool. And then outside that, relic spawn count corrected for FFAs. Carmel, this is big. For large deer, 2 deer packs of 10 appear for each player instead of 3 packs of 7. So that is going to be... Wait, that's... Okay, so that is a nerf, but hear me out. It's going to sound really stupid when I say it out loud. That's a nerf of 1 deer per pack. That sounds really bad, but the indication is, there you go, distribution. Large deer packs avoid spawning next to each other. That's the crux. So what was happening is because you had the 3 packs and you had the small pack between them, it would force a condensed spawn. So what should happen now with this change, they wanted to keep the identity of deer, it seems, but now most games should have a deer on each side of the base, which was intended. Outside that, we've got some crashes that have been fixed. Balanced gameplay. Springalds have been nerfed. Down to 7.5 tile range. Only a slight reduction, but their range resistance also down more. I think this is reasonable. Springals are kind of slightly overperforming. They're very cost efficient right now. And it looks like fishing has been nerfed. I don't think anyone's going to be too upset about that. Fishing shouldn't just be the gravitational go-to play in every game for certain maps. And this should fix some of that problem. Also, the deep water fish nerf is intriguing. That could lead to more examples where people now start to play land aggro instead of just going straight for the boats. Why? Wait, what? Byzantines did not need a buff. Players already adapted. Guys, if you're struggling in your low-rank games because you can't build a system straight away, I've got a tip for you. Build a mining camp, send 1 to 2 villages there, and scale up systems. They were fine. They were fine. I'm pretty confident in my ability to go here. And okay, 44% win rate, but like that's the current midweek muster 21. If we look at midweek muster 20, I feel like they're at a 50% win rate and we're fine. Oh. All right, maybe I'm wrong. They haven't looked bad. I mean, maybe I've just been like, I'll eat my words on it. Maybe I've just been looking at the wrong sample group. But the games we've seen, I think Byzantines have looked competent, not overpowering like they once were. I reckon, so for me, this change, I think you just let it cook for another few weeks. I don't know. To me, this change, like, what I just saw in that win rate, and this isn't me just like backpedaling to cover myself. I think this is true of many examples. Sometimes we rush to nerf or buff things when we have early sample data. People for a long time have played Byzantines an exact same way, and all of a sudden something fundamental at the start of the game changed. And I wonder how many people just haven't adapted to that. Obviously, these are pro levels, so maybe it is fair. But yeah, interesting. Do we have China nerfs? Nope, Grenadiers got buffed. Twice. I don't think I need to talk more about China. Delhi has been nerfed. The elephant's less tanky. I think that's an appropriate change. Also, Pro Scouts not as a given anymore. I think that's also just as important here. It didn't feel like Delhi was sacrificing anything to get Pro Scouts compared to like probably 2/3 of the civs in the game. So that's reasonable. And scholar cost increased to 135 gold from 130. And Dome of Faith has been altered. So scholar pump is going to be slowed down a little bit. I think these are pretty tame and reasonable changes to Delhi and kind of necessary. They were too good still. Scholar scaling is way too easy and organic is the problem. I don't think this change will make Tower of Victory any more competitive. Dome of Faith is still going to be the go-to. HRE, we've got... Wait, what? Charge bonus was displaying a ranged infantry? That's kind of comical. Yumi Ashigaru. Wait, what? Yumi got buffed? 5 food doesn't sound like a lot, but that's really good. That's almost a 10% cost reduction. Yumi and Feudal might become a little bit more viable now, especially considering it's less food. Not that they buff the cost of wood, because food's the thing that's going to run out in Feudal quicker than wood. So we might actually see a few more Yumi Feudal games. Usually those end with someone going castle anyway, but you can lean Feudal. Outside that, this is big. Mongols, the monastic shrines technology is now available in Castle Age. So if you guys remember, monastic shrines is the one that gives you, like, for example, the buffed effect that you can double produce. It's usually in Imperial Age. So this is a pretty drastic change. That's interesting. I'm curious to see the impact of that, because my thought process is now Mongols could theoretically do forward bases in Castle Age, which is something they haven't really been able to do before. Whistling Arrows has also been buffed. I don't really think that was that necessary. Most Mongol players would eventually get Whistling Arrows. That's the one that increases the duration of your buffs from your Khan. Additional Torches has also been reduced. I think that's reasonable. Additional Torches did not come out as frequently. That, as it sounds, is the one that added +3 torch damage. So Mongols actually getting a lot of aggro buffs, it seems. Raid Bounty has also been reduced in cost. Another substantial buff. Raid Bounty really is the organic way for Mongols to play into economy by attacking their opponent. It fits what their playstyle should be, and I think it's a big benefit to them. And it looks like there was some interesting resource implications around Wolf's Den that's been fixed, but I don't think this is enough to put Mongols up the tier list, guys, but like this is a nice start. I think they're doing a good effort of trying to improve Mongols' timings into aggressive plays, because one of the big problems with all these techs is it felt like it took a large chunk out of your tempo timing to get a very slow return on investment, if that makes sense, which is why they buffed the cost and they buffed the research time. Outside that, Ottomans, Akinji. Cost reduced by 10 food. Production time reduced by 1 second. I don't think this is going to change anything for Ottomans, guys. The issue with Akinji is that realistically, they come in too late. They need a Vizier point, and that Vizier point's the biggest problem. If you really wanted Akinji to work, you put the Vizier point in tier 1 as an alternative option, and that would actually allow them to prep Akinji early on. The risk there is that Akinji might just be kind of giga busted, because remember, guys, that is the Cav Archer that shoots twice. So in small numbers, when there's nothing to count on them on the field, could be quite brutal. And Roof's just mirroring the fishing change. Okay, so big changes to the patch that you guys were definitely looking for. We have got House of Lancaster. They can no longer place the Lancaster castle next to the enemy TC. Yep, that was happening. Meme games. You would basically build a Lancaster castle and spam your manors, and it was a full-on outpost rush. Thank God. And finally, the Demi-Lancer's charge damage has been fixed. They no longer are doing more damage than they were in Castle, because in Castle Age, Demi-Lancers do 14 damage. Part of why Demi-Lancers felt so silly is their initial point of contact. And Yeoman have been nerfed on cost. They've also slightly reduced the speed of synchronized shot projectiles. So yeah, this is Yeoman targeted nerfs. Honestly, my take on this, I said you could go for slight tweaks to Yeoman, but at the core of it, you shouldn't change their identity too much. So they've tried to lean around that on economy. I think this is a start, but at ground level 0, the problem is why are manas not getting nerfed again? Manas need a full rework. My expectation is they're planning it, but it's going to take longer, because I think they should rework them to be like hunting cabins where they can't be close to things and close to each other. But that is a change that would take longer than a small patch, which is what we're clearly looking at here. Knights Templar, though, base village of wood income reduced from 0.65 to 0.63. Small implication, but actually, guys, very smart change by the dev team. Although it's a small decrease, it's a big hit to a water play, where most of your villagers are gathering wood. Hospitalier have been nerfed in Elite form. Not really sure if that was... I haven't seen a single Elite Hospitalier game, so I can't really comment on this, but I don't know what would have triggered this change. Sergeant's damage has been increased, by the way, by 1 at every level. They still... I think this is cool, but the problem with Sergeants is that they feel clunky. Their attack point, and same with Genitors here, who also got buffed, by the way, takes too long. I think that's probably why they've done the Genitor change, is sometimes Genitors will basically go to shoot their Javelin, and the person will move too far away, and they'll just cancel a move. There's loads of clunky things like this that need to be fixed for it to work. Heavy Spearmen are also now buffed against elephants, and this is the big one. Condottiero have now got an increased reduction on gunpowder taken damage from 20 to 33%. This change will not change anything. This one is more likely to be impactful. Armor's been increased to 2 melee and free range from 1-1. The damage range reduction, I genuinely think, should be as high as 40 or 45%. So for those that don't know, Condottiero, they take less damage from gunpowder sources specifically. I don't think it works against Siege, but it will work against hand cannoneers, grenadiers, KW. But my thought is Condottiero, for what they cost and statistically what they have, should be a hard counter to hand cannoneers. Now, they have movement speed to gap close on them, but the reality check is they're like 155 health. Okay, sorry, 195, a little bit higher. Just felt 155 with the melee and ranged. But you do pay like 120 gold raw. And it's only 16 base, double that against gunpowder. Their attack speed is maybe something you could change. I think you either give them higher damage reduction against gunpowder, up to 45% maybe, or you make their rate of fire even lower. But if you make their rate of fire lower, the problem that you're going to have is that they are basically going to be like an Onabegeisha, just with better stats. So I think maybe better is just to make them more resistant against gunpowder, because at a 33% damage reduction, that means that you're going to be taking still about 22 damage after range. So like 19 or 20 damage from a gunpowder unit. I don't think it's good enough. The other choices are just too much better. Okay, and it looks like the Hospitality Knights no longer get selected alongside your religious units. Kraken, you'll be happy with that. Okay, but that seems to be all the changes. So nothing too drastic here. Let me know what you guys think. I think genuinely looking at these changes, overall, I'm not expecting a grand deal of changes, but I was a little bit disappointed that the manners didn't just get kneecapped in the meantime until a bigger resolution could be found. Going after Yeoman on a surface level for a lot of people might seem like the appropriate solution, but all you end up with is when manners eventually, and they have to be, reworked, Yeoman are going to be worthless if you continue down this path. A 5 resource nerf isn't going to be too substantial and it's easily fixable down the line, but I'm really hoping we get something to do with the manners. I want to see more civs forced down to the map to get their value. I know some people don't like that style, and that's fine. You can still play House of Lancaster camping in a corner, but I don't think you should be able to camp in a corner and get the entire world of economy safely. Let me know what you guys think, though, down in the comments below. Like the video if you do, and be sure to share it around, and I'll catch you all in the next chapter.